apologies for that. I'm not sure what's happening with that video. It keeps replaying. Thank you for joining us tonight on the Monday night panel. We are going to go straight in because we have a special guest tonight. So I'm just going to bring Vic on.
Hi, Chris. How are you?
Hi, how are you? You okay?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you very much indeed. Very excited that we've suddenly found out that we're going to have a special guest any moment now. So
we are. So shall we bring him on straight away?
Why don't we do just that?
We have the man of the moment, Mr. Ofoborh.
Hi,
how are you?
Hi, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you very much. I'm good.
Jolly good. I'm sure you are.
Right, I'm going to leave you in Vic's capable hands, and I'll speak to you later.
Well, it's an absolute pleasure to speak to you. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. We've got lots of other bits and pieces to do, but we thought we'd get you on first because you're a pretty early man. 6 minutes, or was it 8 minutes? I think on Saturday, wasn't it?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. Now, tell us about that goal because it was a screamer, corner of the net. Thanks very much. 1-0. How about it?
Yeah, no, it was early in the game. Obviously, it was good to get off to a good start at home. I thought I was a lot closer to the goal, taking the shot, but obviously, thankfully, it went in, and yeah, the rest is history. So,
absolutely, there is a sort of. I'm going to ask you this question because it's been put to me. Was there a slight deflection, or did you hit it and it go cleanly into the back of the net?
Nah, no deflection. It went left to right, so I understand why people might think that happened, but it didn't take no deflection. No.
Second goal of the season, first league goal for the town. That must be nice to be up and running on that tally.
Yeah, no, I think the fans will agree in the last few games I probably had a couple of chances that I could have put away. So to actually get one done in the league and to put us ahead is real good for me. So, yeah.
How is it at the moment? I mean, I've got to ask you that, there was the Colchester was probably, as we all know, the lowest point of the season. Yeah. What's happened since Colchester to get us where we are now?
Yeah, I think obviously that was a bad day for all of us involved in the club. And it was a tough one to take. I think we had to regroup and properly look at ourselves and say, look, what do we really want from this season, as a whole. And I think the return of the core in terms of the experienced boys and them all being fit has helped a lot with Skip being back. And as you can see, Delaney playing so many games, Smudge up top and Will back there. I think obviously that's helped us out massively in terms of the experience and the communication that they're passing on to some of the younger boys, including myself. And yeah, I think since that Colchester game, obviously we've had a couple of results where they've worked out for us. Obviously, Smudge keeps hitting the back of the net, which is a benefit for all of us, and we're tightening up round the back. So I think we're just taking encouragement from each and every game that has happened since then. And as you can see, we're building on something. So, yeah.
Can you take us inside the dressing room in terms of confidence and a run that you're on at the minute? How does that manifest itself?
I think we just took more responsibility and took the onus off the manager. There's only so much he can do for us, and it's now down as individually and collectively to start putting some performances together. I think me in particular, I realised that I need to work on certain things and better myself in a certain way to not only help myself but to help the boys playing around me. And then, like I said, with the consistency in the relationships, like I'm comfortable playing with Gav. Obviously, I've been playing with him since I was 16.
Yeah.
And I think Will and Raya at the back, and obviously the partnerships are starting to grow. So, yeah.
You've been on a rocky old road. We all know about that. And to play games for you now must be a joy. I mean, how is it to be back playing football full time?
Yeah, I mean, it's a true blessing. I'm thankful to God. Every day, whether it's not even just matches, just training is a real blessing for me. And obviously, I'm always going to be grateful to the club for allowing me to have this opportunity.
And you're totally okay now. There's no problems whatsoever.
Yeah. As you can see, I'm totally fine. So, yeah.
That's good to hear. Where do you think we can go? I mean, 18th at the minute. You're not going to get carried away by anything by this. The old cliche of take each game as it comes. Biggie on Friday and away, Newport. Where do you think we can go with this run?
I think obviously Newport, I'm speaking to a few of the people around the club, and obviously it's a big game for them. And I think just me personally, we can't really look too far ahead. We can't get ahead of ourselves. We can't get carried away because, as we know in this league, you can have one bad week and end up back down where we were before. So I think it's just about putting back-to-back wins together. We haven't had a back-to-back wins in the league yet, and that's what we're aiming for as a group, and that's been the focus or that is going to be the focus of this week.
You have moments at the end of the game when you go across to the fans. You've got a nice relationship with the fans. Let me take you back to Tranmere Rovers on a Tuesday night. Do you remember before the pre-match warm-up when you hit the crossbar and got a great reception? Yeah. You have that sort of, you have that sign of way of getting on with the fans. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, no, I think obviously, like I said, it's a blessing to just be back out there playing and to know that people are supporting us and just supporting me. I believe I'll use every opportunity I can to give back, whether it's to kids or whether it is to adults or whoever it may be. I think everyone deserves some sort of love, and everyone's a part of the club. So just as I'm a player, they have a part in the club as well. I also think that me as a person, when I was younger and I never really could go to games and people would go to games, I think the nicest thing or the best thing that could happen is just if a player was to speak to you or shake your hand or smile at you or look in any kind of way. So if I can give that feeling to kids or parents or whoever it is, that's a good time for me. So yeah.
Because you know that, when you go to watch a football match, the one thing you want to support is the players on the pitch, and meeting a player, whoever that player might be, is a big moment for a younger fan, isn't it?
For sure. Obviously, I didn't get to meet any from around my area, but I can just imagine what it would feel like to run into any of them or to shake their hand or give a high five or something. So if I can give that feeling or that moment to any kid, then I won't miss out on that opportunity.
What difference has Ian Holloway made? He seems a straightforward sort of bloke and a straight talking sort of person. I guess as a footballer, that's kind of what you need, isn't it?
Yeah, I believe in football. What you want from a manager is to tell you in black and white. You don't want them to really go around the corners, and that's what he does. As you can see in his interviews and how he is, he's a massive character, and he has a really infectious energy, and he's given us new life this season, and we're just trying to. He says to us every day, to be fair, that we need to be as energetic as him, and we need to be as enthusiastic as him. So I think, as you can see from the performances and the work rate of all the boys and how we are, and in terms of our togetherness, that he has been rubbing off on the squad. So yeah.
There have been two great moments recently, of course. Jeff Cox's penalty against Colchester, which lifted the roof off the stadium. Harry Smith getting that second goal on Saturday. Mm-hmm. They're great moments for the team as well, aren't they?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like that Colchester game, we deserved that, and I don't think we've had any kind of luck this season. So to get that penalty and get that opportunity, but there's some wins and some games that bring people together, and I feel like obviously we've had a tough season as a club as a whole, including the fans, and just to have that moment, especially to start the new year, it was a great way to go into it. So yeah.
The one thing you want to fix, I guess, is the away form, isn't it?
For sure. Hopefully we can start that off on Friday, for sure.
Well, we wish you all the best, Nnamdi, and it's great to see you playing so often and scoring fabulous goals. You scored at Crawley, I think, in the League Cup, didn't you, early in the season? But now you're off and running in the Football League. We expect one every other week. Is that all right with you? Is that okay?
I mean, that's that's not really my thing. I don't really like to shoot
I know.
I do my best every time, for sure.
Brilliant. Well, we really appreciate how you're going. So thank you very much, for joining us tonight. It's lovely to see you. Thank you.
Anytime. You lot have a nice evening.
Thank you, and you. All the best. Fabulous. Nnamdi Ofoborh, the score of that great goal on 8 minutes on Saturday. He got the assist, of course, from Jeff Cox before he put the ball in the back of the net. But Chris, what a lovely bloke, and nice to speak to him tonight.
Fantastic. That was it was a bit of a shock. We only had a few minutes notice for that. So it's but yeah, so no, it's fantastic. It just perks everybody up, don't they, when they hear direct from a player how they're feeling and everything like that. So, and it's just getting to know them as they are, and thank goodness he's all okay now. So he has been through the mill of it, hasn't he? So
yes, he has. Okay, I've got some SAS news for you.
Yeah.
Newport is all sold out. That's this coming Friday, as we've been saying. They need 10 more to run a second for Carlisle, but need to know by the weekend, otherwise it'll be too late to book, because you can't just book buses at the last minute. So they need to know well in advance if you want to go to that. The bus leaves a week on Saturday at 7 a.m. from the county ground. It's £39 for members, £41 for non-members. And there are only 5 seats left for Harrogate on the first coach, leaving the county ground at 8 a.m., £35 for members, £37 for non-members. So again, if you want to go to Harrogate on the bus, then get in there quickly and book. It's in the club shop, I think, Chris, isn't it? You can go book between 10 and 4. So if you want to get in touch with SAS, they'd be delighted to hear from you and put you on the bus and travel to far-flung places of the country. Some great comments coming in. Anthony, well, I asked this question, so hopefully you got the answer. Great goal on Saturday. What's been the biggest impact Holloway's had on the squad since coming in? Love the way you always find time with the fans post much. Top man. Much happier times on the way we're playing now. Onwards and upwards. Roll on Friday. So there you are. Again, lovely to have a player on for the first time in a long time. So thank you.
Okay, so we're going to bring Andy on, and then we'll bring the rest of the panel on.
Yes.
Evening.
Oh.
Now, as you'll be aware, I think it's fair to say we had a lot of questions thrown at us last week, and we did say we would answer some of those questions. We have been talking to the club to get answers to those questions. Andy, what can you tell us?
Well, as you know, following on from the Crewe match, it was an unprecedented day, wasn't it? And there was a lot of issues and a lot of challenges, and so we wanted to sort of go back to the club and sort of, you know, raise the relevant questions to people, and there's certain things that we could try and get answers for. You know, we also put a statement out on Wednesday, and one of the things we do say is make it quite clear we're not you're not the club's mouthpiece. You know, we will act as a sort of conduit between supporters and the club. And see if we can get the answers. We haven't got all the answers. We'd like to think that we might have helped out with some of the solutions that have happened this week. And there's been some really sort of good things that have happened. So really what I would like to say is that we've gone back to the club and asked them about things like the turnstiles, like the tannoy, and we welcome any further comments and be a bit more specific. But if we take those two to begin with, first of all, the tannoy, as far as I'm aware of it, there is a situation, there wasn't a huge amount of problems on Saturday. You've asked a couple of fans, haven't you? And they said things.
Yeah. I mean, if there are problems in any area of the ground, we'd like to know which area of the ground they are specifically, so we can put those points to the club so that they can hopefully at some point fix the situation. That's what we want to know. Where do you sit? What's it like? Simple as that, really.
I mean, there is a. Sorry,
Chris.
Go ahead, Chris.
I went back to a couple of people that had complained to us, and there still seems to be an issue down the town end. Part of the stand of the DR, but we know from asking others at the other end it seems to be better. So if we can have where you sit and how it is for you, that'd be great, because then we can pinpoint it and do it that way. Because I think, as Andy's going to say, there makes a difference if there's people in the ground as well. So
it's weird. It's been a long-standing problem. Apparently, it's been there for some years. It does need quite a lot of work, and obviously at the moment they can't. A lot of the work would probably involve sort of investigating speakers and that. Of course, they can't get onto the grounds because I don't think Mr. Povey would allow them. But I do believe the club, you know, they are aware of it, and they would like to sort of incorporate with the development plan and everything. So they are aware, and we will keep, you know, as Chris said, you know, if there are specific areas, we'll keep pushing back. One of the other areas we sort of went back to them on was about the turnstiles and the issues with the turnstile. I don't believe there were any problems on Saturday.
Well, this is from Nick. He's just said, thank you for passing on the feedback. Finally, most of the turnstiles were open, no queues.
Okay, fine. You know, we did sort of suggest to them, you know, that was very important, and I'm glad to hear that they've said that. A couple of issues around the Legends Lounge, which obviously were a concern to people. I'm going to have to be very careful what I say here. There was a there were plant-based hot drinks available in the Legends Lounge on Saturday. I'm pleased to see that the kiosk is now opened, and I think they're hoping in not too distant future that sort of hot food will be available on there as well. I mean, that was probably a little bit giving a bit of pressure for them. And also, I can confirm that the floor is being worked on today. So there's two little positives that hopefully we've had some involvement with, some influence on. And one other thing, which is obviously she came not as a result of the Saturday game, but as a result of the Birmingham game, was the situation regarding the toilet in the away fan ladies and the camera, which is wholly unacceptable. And the club are now addressing that area. There's some work going on. There was a screen on there for this Saturday, although I believe the away fans were using bar 71.
They were, they were. I mean, as you know, there weren't that many of them, so they were able to facilitate the fact that they could go back into.
Confirmed that it will be blocked off by for the next game, for the Tranmere game. So I'd like to think that sort of we've tried to address the issues that have been put our way, and we will continue to challenge the club on things, but please, if you do want to to get in touch with us, please do it through the social media pages or through our email pages. But one polite request, please, can you make sure that it's specific? So if it's an area, a date, time, and a part of the ground, and anonymous, if you've got something to say, please, put your name, and then that's one way we can respond to you. And of course, we're always available. We're here. If you ever want to come on the panel, please just send your details in, and we're more than happy to sort of consider your request. And we're always available on match days in the Legends Lounge, in the corner there, and we'll always be free to speak to you and that. So, really appreciate all the feedback that we've got. And it's really nice to have still got 3 points on Saturday. And of course, having Nnamdi on tonight is really, made our day. So
yeah, I've been pulled up, and quite rightly so. Russell Simpson says, "Who's Jeff Cox?" And I don't know why I call him Jeff. It's George, obviously, but for some reason
we're getting comments from Royston Cropper again. I think
it's because you have Jeff on as well.
Say again,
not Jeff. The other Jeff on. You had the other Jeff on as well when you were on the pitch.
All right.
Yes.
Yeah. We're getting comments again from Royston Cropper about. So we need to once again,
Yeah, I just want to say. I don't want to call you Royston Cropper because I know you're not Royston Cropper. Look, please come and talk to us. You've obviously got issues with us. What he's saying is we've said we're not going to be the mouthpiece of the club, and now we're doing it again. No, we're not. What we've said is we're the link between the supporters and the club. So any issues people have, they can come through us. We will get the answers and put it back. What we don't do is answer for the club. So we don't make up the answers and do that. So it's one of those things that you either have somebody who can talk to the club and get your answers for you. But that doesn't mean to say that we are doing the questions for them, that are doing the answers for them. So just to get that clear. So I understand what you're saying is why not you say to the club to communicate with the fans directly? That'd be great, but not always possible. And that's one of our roles, is to be the link between the club and the fans. So yeah.
And I think it's fair to say also, Chris, that a great deal of work has gone on in the past 7 days with the supporters club and trying to get answers from the football club. It's not a case of us just sitting back and going, yeah, that's right, isn't it? We actually do stuff to try and get those answers for you. So it's not a case of just accepting what we're told. We look into it. And a great deal of work went on in the last 7 days to try to get those answers. So I sometimes you just kind of like to take a step back and say, no, we're not the mouthpiece of the football club. We actually are trying to represent what fans are saying to us. So maybe you should sometimes accept that, and we'll do our best for you. It's that simple.
And also the comment about it appears the panel are carefully vetted. No, they're not. anybody can come onto the panel. We've said this previously. I've even said to you yourself, Royston, if you wanted the link, let us know. So, and we will not, well, you're asking about the stance of Spirit of 69. We're neutral because we have a fan base which is very diverse. Some are for the protest, some are against it, some have no opinion. We can't be on anybody's side. So, because we step back, our own opinions are totally different to whatever can be. We might have different opinions to everybody else on the committee, but as a committee, our stance is we're neutral.
And we've had Dan Hunt on here, who's a regular member of the panel. So there you go.
And thank you for the last comment, Royston. It is appreciated.
Okay, can we?
Okay, I think we've done enough of that now. So
I'll leave you and let's go and talk about the wonderful Saturday.
Yeah, let's talk about football, shall we?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's bring the panel on. So we got Craig, we have Mark, we have Phil, we have Steve, and we have Belinda.
Marvellous.
Fresh from her fire alarm.
It wasn't my fire alarm. I need
Not
to make
your fire alarm.
I live in a block of flats.
All right.
Arsonist, but I don't mean that. Right, I'm going to leave you, so I will speak to you later.
Okie doke. All right, all the best. Thanks, Chris. Lots of comments coming in about Nnamdi Ofoborh. Hi, Justin. Absolutely top player in person. Thank you for taking the time out Saturday and giving my son a cuddle and a picture on the side of the pitch. You made his day, which is lovely. And I know, that players go over to the junior Reds before the game as well, the ones who aren't playing. And, young fans meeting a footballer makes a big difference to them and they remember it for a long time. So that's fine. Carol, thank you very much indeed about the tannoy. We'll make a note of that position. Hi, Tony. Just like Ollie, he's honest, loyal. He supports players. The players have respect for his comments and helping confidence. That reflects off the pitch with the fans. Well done to all team members from 21 players and staff, all as one. Okay, let's talk about football, shall we? Swindon Town 2, Barrow 0. Nnamdi Ofoborh on 8 minutes. Harry Smith on 87 minutes. Assist came from Jeff Cox. Not Jeff. George Cox. I tell you what, I've written it down here. That's how bad it's got. George Cox on 8 minutes. And Gavin Kilkenny on 87. And it was, as we've saying to him earlier, Nnamdi Ofoborh's first league goal. Right, let's go around the panel. Belinda, you were there Saturday?
This was like the first home game I've not been to.
Oh, no. Why was that?
I was getting drunk in London.
I don't know if you want to confess that, but it's too late. You've done it. So, what were your thoughts when you saw the result?
I was ecstatic. I mean, I had a lot of wine by that point, so I was even more ecstatic than normal. But no, I think it's going along this trajectory that we've been on recently that I'm really loving seeing. I mean, of course, because it's meaning we're getting further and further out of the relegation zone. But I think there has just been a turn since the last time I was on, which was about 2 months ago, where we're suddenly, you're seeing the Holloway influence, I think it's probably fair to say. The players haven't really changed. The players are the same, which I said the last time I was on. I've seen them all do great things and good things, and they're all very capable players. And it's about a manager who can get it out of them. And I think we're seeing that Holloway is getting that. And we're more consistently, we're now going into games thinking we could win, which for a while we were hitting a point of, well, okay, we're going to go and watch a game so that we can lose. How badly are we going to lose this week? Whereas I think now, we're seeing that turning point. We've got a bit of love back. I mean, it's noticed by even just the gate at the game has been going up recently at home games. So I think it's very exciting to see. And I've been told that we played well. But to be honest, at this point, I'm actually expecting us to play well quite a lot because I feel like we've been really good recently.
Yeah, Mark, I know you were there because I saw you. But, I said to Nnamdi Ofoborh, the one thing they want to do, of course, is get the away form right because the away win at Cheltenham, all right, Wickham in the Virtue Motors Cup, but really it's been pretty thin gruel, hasn't it, away from home?
It has, and we've drawn a lot. I mean, the really interesting thing is if we'd maybe won a couple of those games, we'd probably be talking about pushing for promotion right now, playoffs. That's the difference. There's not much between the teams where we are and sort of the playoff places. So turning a couple of those draws into wins would make a huge difference. Instead of the situation we're in now, where the next 3 games crucial, and a bit of a relegation dogfight we're in. Definitely the away form. We need to start winning those, and let's start with the 3 points at Newport.
Yeah, Phil. I mean, you see all Swindon games. I mean, have you missed any this season? I don't think you have. Have you?
2.
You've missed 2, right? Okay.
Yeah.
But what about where we are at the minute? I mean, we are still 18th. Let's not get carried away. We're still lowly in the Football League, but compared to where we were at the Colchester game, when we all came away pretty miserable from that after 4-0 thrashing, where do you think we are now in the way we're going?
I think the key at the moment is that Holloway has come up with the right players in the team, and that gives you a foundation to build. This league is not a great league, and teams are moving up and down the league very rapidly, it seems. Barrow were third, they're now down with us. That anything is possible. If we could get wins against Newport and Carlisle, you'd say momentum was with us, and the higher teams would be looking at us over their shoulder. And I think it probably depends on who we sign in the next couple of weeks, as the squad is thin in some areas, but we can give it a good go, I think, for the rest of the season, and not just think about relegation.
Steve, you coincidentally have the same name as the former Barrow manager, which is just a coincidence. If you haven't heard, of course, he left after Saturday's defeat, and he's been replaced by Andy Wing, I think, from Solihull Moors today. What have you thought of the recent form?
Oh, it's totally transferred. It's chalk and cheese from where we were just a few weeks ago. Interesting enough, I was watching a video the other day from David Norris from when he was down at Plymouth with Ian Holloway. He just said he came in and he galvanised everybody. He made people feel 10 foot tall and made them believe that they were good players. We had the good players, and now they're starting to believe they are good players again. And it is starting. You can see the results. The results speaks for itself. The performances. I mean, probably we would have maybe got a 0-0 draw or scraped, or defeat. And even against Crewe the previous week in the fog, we battled a team that were flying. So there is a change. There almost feels like there's a little bit of a structure now. We've got something, and they're playing as a team. They're communicating, and whatever he's getting across is slowly but surely turning. It's taken a while for it to sink in get into place. But what he's doing at the moment on the training ground or wherever he's doing it, the proof is it's working, because we are grinding out those results. We are picking up the 3 points at home, and 2 back-to-back clean sheets, which hasn't happened for I don't know when. The tide is turning, and there is a little bit of positivity, but let's face it, we have played more games than anybody else down in the bottom half of the table, but we are where we are, and we are looking up rather than looking sort of nervously over our shoulders now. So he's at the moment, what he's doing is great. Carry on, please.
Yeah, a couple of contrasting comments here. Kevin, this gets safe, maybe push for playoffs. Does the panel agree? We'll get to that in a minute. Darren says playoffs. Oh, please get to safety stabilise. That's our aim. Talk of playoffs is embarrassing. And sorry to be a Grinch, since Anthony, but we're far from out of the relegation battle. We've played 2 or 3 more games than the teams around us. We're playing well, but got to keep doing that. Otherwise, we'll get sucked back in. And Dale, playoffs would be a dream. Let's concentrate on just getting the wins under our belts. The performances and the confidence looking good. Craig, played more games than other teams around. I'll go through the league in a minute. Does that matter now? You got the points on the board.
Wasn't it it was about 20 years ago when we stayed up because Bristol Rovers lost all their games in hand, didn't we? Yeah, points to the board. I take the points to the board. I think Holloway is managing to get a tune out of a very dented instrument, isn't he? I mean, I think we were I'm really surprised that he's managed to turn it around. The results are changing. I'm feeling much more positive, but I agree. I think it's way too early to be talking about the playoffs. Let's just get to the end of the season and make sure we go into those final 3 games against Bromley, Gillingham and MK Dons, which is going to be a tough finish with enough points to get above that line. But yeah, there's a bit more positivity, and I'm feeling more confident about looking at the bottom of the table rather than pretending it doesn't exist and putting my head in the sand.
Yeah, I think that's right. Barrow just above us now, only on goal difference. So had we got a couple more goals on Saturday, that may well have changed, of course. Barrow in 17th, played 25, -5 goal difference, points 28. Swindon now in a lofty 18th. Never thought I'd say that in Division 4. Played 27, -8 goal difference, 28 points. 19th are Harrogate. They've hit a bit of form, 26 games played, -14 goal difference, 28 points. 20th, Newport, played 24, -11, 26 points. Accrington in 21st, 24 games played, -11, 25. And Tranmere, who really are the team that you kind of look at as possibly in danger, played 25, -21, 25 points played. And then 23rd and 24th, Morecambe played 25, -18, 20 points. And then Carlisle, who have signed 150 players, it seems, in the transfer window. Carlisle, 25 games played, -20 and 18 points. Harrogate are playing tomorrow against Colchester, so they could bump themselves up the league a little bit. Belinda, what about that league table? Because Morecambe and Carlisle very conveniently lost on Saturday. Carlisle really are the surprise package of the season because you would thought they got some money behind them. What are they doing at the bottom of the table? They came down and gave us a big thumping earlier on in the season. What do you think of that bottom now of the table?
I think that we're 8 points ahead of Morecambe now.
Yes.
And I know there's a lot of people saying that, they've got loads of games in hand and things like that. But I think if you look at the bottom of the table, you don't expect them to get 8 points from 2-3 games. You just don't. It can happen, as we've had our sudden burst in form. Teams could have a sudden burst in form, especially with the transfer window. I think the Carlisle one is going to be interesting because of all the changes and things. But I think I do just feel more comfortable. I think it feels now, if we keep this form up, I mean, a lot of it does require keeping up the form, but if we keep this form up, then we're going to have a bog standard middle of the table season in League Two. And I'm perfectly okay with that based on the torture that we've experienced. If just a few more points on the board, just get that little bit further away, double digits maybe out of the playoffs. And I think we can all breathe a lot more. I think we'll all be able to be like, okay, we're going to be fine.
I've got to take you to task over one word that you use, the word comfortable. I'm not totally sure you can ever apply that to the.
Of course, as comfortable as one can be.
That's very good. Yes, I'll take that one. Hi, Lawrence. This team is now playing for the badge at long last, and it does appear, Steve, that there is a bit of team spirit there as well, which is great to see.
There is, and it's they're all, like I said just now, that they're playing as a team. They're not playing as individuals, and some of them not playing with fear anymore. There was lots of negativity from the stands. Rightly, wrongly, everybody can voice their opinions towards the player. But they're not playing that fear. You can see them having a go. I mean, would he have had a shot from there a few weeks ago in score? Who knows? They probably would have passed it 10 times and it would have gone back down the other end. So. There is more of a tent. There is more attacking prowess about them at the moment, and that it just looks a different team. They're playing with some confidence, and it's amazing what a couple of wins can do to their confidence. There is clearly an Ian Holloway way, and it's working at the moment.
Yeah. I was going to read this comment, Phil. Oh, here we are. Ugly win Saturday, but 3 more points on the board. Keep climbing the league. Get to safety as soon as possible. Does it really matter how you play, Phil, at this stage of the season?
Points on the board is what it's all about. On Saturday, it was a grind, wasn't it? The game, it wasn't pretty, but the fans went out the county ground as I left the Don Rogers stand. They were happy, and results are what makes people happy. If there's some good football, that's a bonus. And certainly the move that involved Drinnan hitting the post at the end was one of the best moves of the season.
Absolutely fantastic. Is that Drinnan's the one that Drinnan was? I mean, if that had gone in, that's goal of the season, isn't it?
Yeah,
without question. Yeah.
Just looking at the league table, in the bottom half and above, we're about the only team with only one loss in the last 6 games. All the Reds have got lots of red losses there. So that's how much our form has improved.
Yeah, and I always kind of think at this time of the season, then we're now 3 games ahead of Morecambe. If you look at the points, we've got 28, they've got 20. So they have to win 3, we have to lose 3 for them to even get close. So we're games ahead at the moment in that sense. Mark, I mean, let's not stop talking about a relegation battle because we still possibly could be in it. What's your gut feeling right now?
Well, more positive than we were before Christmas. We went on an incredible run around that period. But the next 3 games are crucial, all against teams below us in the table. Destiny is very much in our hands. If we could get 2 wins out of that 3, I'll be feeling even more confident. But as I say, anything can happen. But yeah, it's definitely within our grasp. The team are playing well. It feels, as a supporter watching the team now, you actually anticipate, that we're going to go there and win, which is something that hasn't happened for a few weeks prior to Christmas. So, that's a positive for me.
Yeah, and also, the fact that you have that feeling, we haven't had that for a long, long time, I don't think it's fair to say. So the only disappointment, I guess, Craig, in the last few weeks was Notts County when, completely outplayed by a team with McGoldrick doing what McGoldrick did, and we allowed him to do that. That was one blip, if you like, on this recovery.
Yeah, I mean, McGoldrick's a bit of a kind of unusual for our division, isn't he? Really, and he could play at a much higher level. So I think that's put that down to experience. But I mean, I've got the supporters club fixture list right above my laptop here, and I'm just looking. That's how I always know who we're playing next. Is I'm not really that much of a geek, but I'm just looking at the teams we've got left. I mean,
this is the man who goes around non-league teams in Scotland and tells us how many people were there. But you're not a geek,
not at all. The fixture list is looking a bit less scary to me now. I'm still really concerned about that run in those final 2 games, Gillingham and MK Dons. But Carlisle, obviously, I mean, somebody said in the chat there, Tony said that Carlisle was a big game, and it's only 99 miles from Kirkintilloch, so there'll be quite a few us Scottish based supporters at that one. So that is a big one. Clearly that is a 6-pointer. I can't see us getting anything against Walsall, Donny Rovers, Cheltenham, Accrington, Morecambe. All these games are winnable. So I think we should, looking at that, I'm feeling much more confident now. So Notts County, we just put that down to experience. One of those things.
Tony says, is Craig nearly an adopted jock? Swindon over the border supporters club. Nice to see your face back travels. And what I would say is I love reading them. They're all about these non-league clubs up in Scotland that you've never, ever heard of, their facilities and all that kind of stuff. But it must be a lovely camaraderie when you meet up with various people in these grounds.
It is. I know there's a bit of a bit of division and toxicity around Swindon Town at the moment, and it's just the exact opposite. You walk up to these clubs and there's no segregation. You wander around the grounds. The Bovril is ludicrously cheap and available in plentiful supply, and they're just beautiful structures. They're just beautiful buildings that. And every little village with like 300 or 400 people has got a ground. It's just, I find it astonishing. But yeah, I'm ticking them all off. I'm trying to slow down my rate of going to new grounds because one day I'll have visited them all. I'll have nothing to do then. So, but yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's good. But not the same as seeing the town. It's fun, but not the same as seeing the town play.
Well, it's great to read. I must admit, I really enjoy it. Gary Holloway's made the whole team versatile, playing Clark at the back and switching him back into midfield, and then Kane slotted in at left back after the 2 injuries. Of course, we should say Benny Kirkman and George Cox. George, of course, went off to replaced by Kirkman, who then got an injury, and we wish him well. We hope it's not a serious injury because he's looking a prospect, Belinda, isn't he? You know, he comes in there. He's a player who got recalled. He's been out on loan. He's come back. And he looks totally comfortable.
Yeah, he's been playing really well. I mean, with the whole team, I feel like every game that he's played, even the ones where we haven't looked our best, he's been a great watch and a great player. And he's been working really, really hard from the back. I do hope he recovers because definitely would like to see him back out. But I think but I think it needs to be said that it's not just him. It is every single one of these players has improved significantly in just the last few months. Every single one of them. Every single one of them is starting to showcase actually what they're capable of. And I think you've just got to give it to Holloway that he is getting it out of them more consistently. You take, with Ofoborh and him getting that goal. Well, the last several home games, he has been making shots like that. From just outside the box, trying to whack it in, and he's not a goal scorer, but he's been giving it a go because he's got the confidence to do it now, and he thoroughly deserved the one that he got. Kirkman's been thoroughly deserving his place in the squad, and I do wish him all the best because hopefully he can continue to grow as a player along with the rest of the team.
Yeah, sure. We do wish him well, obviously. Harry Chard came on a course against Birmingham and did a really good job. He looks a prospect. That's a good thing, Steve, isn't it? We've got young kids coming through and they look decent. When they get in the team, they don't let anyone down.
They don't. And, and there's more to probably come up through as well. I mean, when Amin comes on, he's looking strong as well. It's encouraging. I know someone who's got a child in the academy who's really hopefully going to come through. He's scoring goals left, right, and centre at the moment from the reports I see, and it's encouraging to see the youth, and it sort of makes you feel proud. We got some of our own players playing in the team, and McGregor in that as well. He's not let us down at all. You can't think of a time where he had. It just feels like the future of the Swindon Town youth. It's bright, and long may it continue because I think the last sort of player we had sort of coming through was like the likes of Nathan Thompson. I mean, he was for me one of the best right backs I've seen at the football club for certainly a decade or more. So no, I'm all for it. If they're, so I think it's Jimmy Quinn said if they're good enough, they're old enough. Stick them in the team and give them a go. And certainly they are fighting for that shirt. And and rightly so. If you compete for it, you've earned your right to play in the team. Keep it. It's yours it's your spot to lose. So no, Kirkman was very impressive. And, speedy recovery on that one. But we're blessed at the moment with some good talent coming through.
Having said that, they lost 3-2 to Forest Green on Saturday. I don't want to pour water on it, but it was Abu Kanu and George Olsen got the goals for the under-18s. Meanwhile, the women got into the semi-finals of the Wilts Cup. They won 4-0 at Bemerton Heath. Tori St Clair, Steph Bent, an own goal, and Mia Mugford got the goals for Swindon Town. So they're into the semi-finals of the Wilts Cup. So congratulations to them. Sean Ding, I find as well, yes, we were better than Barrow, but wasn't the best performance in recent times. The key, still win, we're not completely at it, is a difference. And I think we all go along with that. And I think at the moment, whatever sort of performance you put in, as long as you get the points, that's fine. Let's have a look. Can any town fans remember playing Hibernian Hibs in a pre-season game at the county ground? If so, when? We'll come to Craig, our Scottish correspondent, in a moment. If so, when? I remember going, but I can't think when it was or find a programme. Was this the only Scottish team ever to play at SM1? Well, no, it wasn't, because I think I'm right in saying Arbroath played there in a pre-season friendly. I might be wrong, but somebody did like that. Craig, Hibernian.
Yeah, I was at that Hibs game. I'm looking. Of course, there's an app to log all these things, isn't it? It was early 90s because Paul Trollope played for them, didn't he? I think.
Okay.
But it was right at the start of the season one year. I'm going to say it was about 91 or 92. I'm just looking now. 91. Yeah, I think it was about 91.
Okay. Well,
yes,
have a look.
It was the 14th of August, 1990. There we go.
Oh, there you go. Well done.
We drew 2-2.
I must have been there, but I can't remember it. Never mind. But I think we're pretty sure we played somebody like Arbroath as well. But I stand to be corrected, as I do on the name George Cox, which I've got wrong continually this evening. I like what Holloway says Alexander. He'd rather play our 18-year-olds and have no EFL experience than some other teams' 18-year-olds. Depending on the results of other teams around us, teams from 13th to 14th place downwards can be brought into the relegation battle. It's mad. Now, I know, Phil, you've had experience with spotting young talent in the past. Paul Rideout springs to mind. What do you sort of glean from what we're seeing from the younger players these days?
I think our current group of younger players don't seem to be fazed by anything. So that must be down to the academy doing a really good job in preparing them for action, as it were, because none of them have come on and just been out of their depth. They've managed to cope in all sorts of situations. And like against Birmingham, Chard coming on at left back against a very good winger, and he didn't get destroyed, did he?
No, not at all.
And he was he just looked the part. And so I think if they're coming in that well prepared, you don't have too much worries about them having to be used.
Yeah, absolutely right. And I think Ant McCormack, people pointed the finger at him for the goal, but I think Holloway pointed out afterwards that it wasn't necessarily his fault when they got their first goal. So he's very supportive, I think. And that must give them a boost too, mustn't it?
But look at McCormack the rest of the game.
Yeah.
Who he was up against, Dykes and May.
Yeah.
And he didn't lose his head over it. He kept going. And I thought he was a rock at the back there.
Yeah, he looks a prospect. So we wish him well. We wish all of them well in their future careers, because the more they play, the more experience they get, and the more they benefit Swindon Town. And we love seeing local players. As simple as that, really. Hi, Jake. Newport Friday and Tranmere next Tuesday are massive. Do the biz against them both, and we can be a lot more confident. I'd rather have the points on the board rather than the games in hand. Daz says Doncaster 28 points this time last season, 20th in the league, went on to make the playoffs. Mark, is that pie in the sky stuff or what?
It's interesting. Next 3 games are crucial against teams below us in the table. I think we just take one game at a time and go from there. It's a long way. I think we've got to get through these next 3 games, and then we can start reevaluating after that. But I can't really see beyond the Carlisle game at the moment.
Yeah, I think we predicted. Well, some of us predicted 9 points out of the next 3 games. That includes last Saturday, Friday, and Tuesday. I mean, you would look at the Tranmere Rovers game, looking at where their position is, Mark, and say that's a biggie, isn't it? That's a 6-pointer in a way, because if you can get 3 points ahead of them from that game, that's a big step.
But they're all 6-pointers. I think if you look at the teams below us have got games in hand on us, so we need to win all 3 really.
Darren says we played Arbroath away. A few Stroud Reds went up. I think that was in the 80s, and it was Ayr United we played at home. I knew it began with A, Craig, but I do seem to remember that. Do you know what I really like?
Auchinleck then.
It was what?
It wasn't Auchinleck Talbot then.
No, it wasn't them. No.
They're good.
Yeah. It'd be nice to get a Scottish tour, wouldn't it? That'd be great. That'd be really nice. 3 or 4 games in Scotland. I think a lot of us would go along to that. Where are you in your head then, Craig? Are you still in a relegation battle, or are you looking further ahead than that?
Honestly, nothing would surprise me with this blinking team that we support. I'm feeling more confident now. As I said, I'm feeling more confident than I was before Christmas. I've not seen us play since the Grimsby home win, but I've been, really, really buoyed up by the highlights that I've seen. So I'm going to stick my neck out and say that I think we're more safe than we were before. That's all I'm going to say. But we need to make sure that come April that we've got the points, to get us over the line. There's always one team that has a great run at the end, and there's always one team that falls away. Let's just hope we're the former, not the latter. But I'm 70-30 in favour. That's my feeling. I'm more positive that we're going to stay up than go down now.
Okay, fair enough. Peter says we've played Falkirk in a pre-season friendly years ago, if I remember correctly. And Derek, hi Derek, has backed me up with I wish we could do a pre-season away in Scotland like we did many years ago. It would be lovely. You could put us all up in your house, Craig.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just waiting for the screams because my wife's watching this in the other room. But yeah, I mean, people would be more than welcome to stay with us. We could probably accommodate a few, but not everyone.
Marvellous. Belinda, the last time you were on, you made a point which sort of stuck with me, really, to say that in your supporting lifetime, you could basically only remember us a 4th Division team. Those of us who are older, of course, remember other things. But do we need to, as the chairman has said, change our mindset, or do we have to accept that that's where we are, which we would never accept? But is that the way we have to think?
I think it's a bit of both. I think we need to accept that we're not one of the big boys anymore, or middle-ish big boys. But I think we shouldn't accept that we're a League 2 team. I mean, the football's become more expensive over time. There's more and more money that has been going into it that we haven't always seen. And we haven't necessarily been able to grow as much as a lot of other teams have. So being a championship level club, I think, seems completely foreign to me. And that sort of doesn't make sense. However, I don't think we should accept League 2. I think where we are, the size of our club, and where we belong for the moment is League 1. We're fighting to get back in. We've been this season. We've been fighting to stay in. But I think once things sort of sort themselves out, we fight to get back in League 1, and then we just try and stay there. Because the last few times we've gone back up into League 1, we've basically come
back down again. Yeah.
Which is not something that we were used to, but it's now something that I've become used to because I started supporting during Paolo Di Canio's era, and since then we have spent most of the time in League 2. It would be really lovely to see us be at least mid-table League 1 squad. And I know there's probably some people that are going to be going, oh my God, that just sounds so depressing. But let's look at where we've been at this season even. So I think for now, let's just be a mid-table League 2 squad. That's all we want right now. But in the future, I think that's the goal to aim for. And, maybe we'll have a fun time. But if you look at clubs like Yeovil, who went all the way up to the Championship when they weren't really ready for it, and then they just came tumbling down, and they've been a non-league squad for ages, and you don't want the same thing to happen. So I know people have got big dreams, they want to get themselves back up there, but our club in the state that it's in, even if it improves over the next couple of years, is it going to be ready for Championship? No, it's not.
Yeah, I think if I said to you that Plymouth are putting 10 to 15 million quid a year in terms of wages for Championship, and their bottom, says it all. John's the background marks are in, by the way. So stand by. John Stevens has sent his marks in. No longer to be critical about backgrounds, brackets, except Rob, close brackets. So let's highlight the positives. Modesty forbids me to say what he said about mine. Craig, always a pleasant perspective on domestic life. So there you are. Mark, minimalist but delightful, he says. So well done there. Belinda, very acceptable. Phil, good to see you. Andy, Andy, he's gone. So I can't. He says your screen is off. And Steve, at least you turned up.
Interesting story. I've been relegated to the lounge this evening. Normally I'm up in the bedroom, but yeah, I've literally got home from work about 5 to 7, and it was straight into the lounge. And no, I would have been up the stairs with all the shirts around me, but yeah, the better half and the young lads upstairs. So I'm in the lounge this evening on my iPhone because my laptop wouldn't load up. You name it, it was always going on before coming to air. But
I think that's what you call damning with faint praise. At least you turned up. Anyway,
sure. At least no, I'm happy with that. I'll settle for that this evening.
Full and Rockin' Robin Swindon says, full marks to Mark. I want to see more Rockin' Robins in the background next time, please. Challenge set. Well done, Mark. There you go. You got high praise from the man himself. So well done. Right. There was. Oh gosh, why did I do that? I shouldn't have done that. Hang on. Bear with me for just a moment. There's a very good question on here, which I wanted to put to you. Right. This is from Jason Roberts. Let's go around the panel on this. Ian Holloway talks about next season already in his interviews. Has a new contract been signed or even offered yet? What's the panel's view on Ollie staying longer term? We won't find better, in my opinion. Right. Let's start off with you, Craig, at the top there.
I'm not convinced. I think it's too much about Ian Holloway than Swindon Town, in my opinion. That said, he's proven me wrong, and as I said, he's managed to get us playing well. I just don't think it's a medium term appointment. I think it's let's just stabilize the ship, get us to stay up, and then we go again with a sustainable budget and a kind of a decent recruitment policy, and bring those youths through, get them playing. But I don't think he's the person for the medium term.
Okay, Mark.
Holloway, he's got a job to do this season. We're certainly turning in the right direction. I would love to see him stay. I think he's got such passion. He understands what it means to be a football supporter of this club, and he's a great character to be around. I just feel it more positive with him leading the team. So yeah, I'd love to see him stay.
Okay, well, we'll see what happens. Phil, what do you think?
I think he certainly, for the medium term, we need a bit of continuity. We've had so much turmoil summer by summer that he will know the players. He's got contacts. He lives relatively locally. So, he's going to be around to put the time and energy in. And I just think that if he does get the momentum going this season, you want him to be able to build on that and see where he takes us, because we've tried all sorts of other managers. Let's stick with one for a little while now.
Yeah, Steve, I know he said in his interviews with Horses that he's building.
Yeah.
And I think he said on Saturday that he was looking, towards next season in terms of the performances from the players. So presumably in his mind, he is thinking longer term.
Well, why not? I mean, like Phil's just said, every summer we've had a new batch of players, a new manager, new way of thinking, and all this, and it just doesn't work. You're only going to work if you get continuity and a bit of consistency. Do you know what I mean? You just need that stability. And if it's Ian Holloway, that's great. As Phil said, he lives locally. He's only a few miles down the M4. He gets it. He gets the area. He gets the fans. He understands what it means to be a Swindon Town fan. I think it's not going to be a bad thing if he's here next year. He's got the players. He knows who's playing now. With an eye to next year, that's brilliant. If he's already thinking about next year, brilliant. Bring it on. Do stay. Have that time to build something. and go from there. You know, if this time next year it's not working, then by all means. But you know, let's have a manager that's going to last more than 5-6 months at a time. You know, let's just keep what's at the moment is working, and yeah, brilliant that he's thinking about next year, because he's showing his intentions of staying put for a little while longer, and that's only a good thing in my book.
Belinda, I keep trotting this statistic out, but it's worth 43 managers since the year 2000. You mentioned Di Canio. Off the top of my head, I can't remember how many it is since him. But the average shelf life of a Swindon Town manager is about 2.5 months. It seems to me.
Yeah.
I mean, you want consistency, don't you? You know, any manager will say they need at least 3 years to build a club. What's your view?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the history of when I've been watching, I think the last sort of consistent manager that we had for more than one season was, I think, Mark Cooper.
Yes.
I think since then we've had a manager maybe just for one season, or at worst, multiple managers in one season. And I think I agree with everyone else that we need the consistency. And as somebody who obviously has a massive love for Paolo, I do see Ian Holloway as a sort of West Country Paolo. He is, Craig said it's all about him, but it was all about Paolo, and Paolo did a great job. Yeah. So, he's a character, but he brings he's bringing a bit of love back to the club because of how he's communicating with the fans, how he's showing his love and interest in the club, and how he's getting points on the board. And I think at the moment, he may end up turning and it all going really, really bad. But for the moment, we would be making a massive mistake to get rid of him. And also, if we can afford Ollie Clark, then obviously I'd absolutely love to keep him, because he is. It's a shame that he does get injured quite a bit, but when he's fit, he is so good, and you can see it with the team, and he is a great captain.
Yeah, do you know what? I think 2 players that you'd point to as being extraordinarily much better than they were at the start. Ollie Clark is one. Ryan Delaney is another. I know Ryan Delaney had a lot of injuries, but Delaney is now playing like the player we thought he was, and he's going back to Newport, of course, on Friday, so that should be an interesting one. Colin says, Ian Holloway, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Ollie is honest, passionate, solid, supportive. It's his last job before retirement, but he needs supporting, says Tony. 21st of May 1971, Swindon Town 2, Falkirk 1, Rogers and Trollope in a friendly. Hi, Kevin. We've been building for years. How many 5-year plans have we had? I like £1 for every time I've heard that phrase, I have to say, because I make a few quid out of that. I've got to be honest. We are not a League Two team, says Dale. Well, that just flicked up at the last minute. We have a 15,000-seater stadium. If our chairman is saying that, then that's a small-minded view. We need to be pushing for better. I don't think he said that we need to change our mindset about being a League Two team in terms of thinking bigger than that. That's what I think, if I'm quoting him correctly on that. 28, including interim managers since Di Canio, Belinda. So there you are, 28 in 13 years.
12, 13 years, yeah.
Yeah, incredible. Right, the final question to you all, because we're coming up to the end. This is from Nick. Are we happy with the squad? What do you expect for the remaining transfer window? It's that time of the year that we all love, when we are on the last day of January or February or whenever it is this year, and we're all waiting up till 3 a.m. to see if we signed a sort of a reserve centre half from Altrincham. Craig, what are you expecting this year?
I hope we can hold on to Harry Smith, because he seems to be reliable, and he's got a good return rate now. I'd hope we don't lose people like McGregor and Kirkman. And Boatin and Mean, I almost hesitate to say him in case some agent somewhere might be randomly using some AI bot to tune into this live stream. But at the very least we could get a lot more money for him later on down the line. He could certainly come on and do a job. I think we could do with another striker, and I think the goalkeeper position, not surprisingly, I think we could do with strengthening that. But I think the players we've got seem to be playing a lot better than they were 6 months ago. So I mean, everyone wants that 30 goal a season striker, but we can't afford one. But we can get somebody who can support Harry up top. That would be good. But that's my kind of desire really for the window.
We've already brought Tom Nichols in, of course, Mark. We haven't really seen the best of him yet because I don't think he's fully match fit, is he really? But what do you think about what we might bring in for the remainder of the month? Keeping hold of players, of course, is a big thing. What do we think?
Yeah, that's always been a challenge for clubs at this level, is keeping hold of, we tend to build a team and then they get recalled to their parent clubs. So that has got to be sort of priority, really, to retain the players we have got. If we can bring in one or two more players, if they fit with the sort of the squad and they add to it, then great. We don't want to be sort of panic buying players, but I think the position that some had touched on it already is the goalkeeper. I'd love to see someone there as well, potentially. Yeah, it's just wait and see. Really, it's getting close to the end of the window.
Yeah, we should mention Jack Bycroft's save against Tyler Smith, of course, on Saturday, which was a crucial save down at the foot of his post against the former Swindon Town loanee, Tyler Smith, who'd signed for Barrow, I think, the day before, hadn't he? Lovely message from Caroline. This is from about our guest earlier on today, Nnamdi Ofoborh. Love to see this connection with our fans, and it's a picture of him going across the young fans at the end of the game. Without fail, at the end of every game, Nnamdi Ofoborh acknowledges our younger fan base and posts his photos and signs autographs. What a guy. Come on, you Reds. There you go. Yeah, I'm really... He's my sort of player, Phil. I love players like Nnamdi Ofoborh. He just gets on and does his business, and he does all the dirty work and all that kind of stuff, and occasionally bursts out and scores a goal like that. What about the transfer window, the remainder of it?
Just on Ofoborh, the great mystery is why he hasn't played more games this season.
Well, I think we were all a bit bemused with Notts County, were we not?
Yeah.
Why he wasn't playing in that one, but hey, that's another one.
But in terms of players, we are fragile injury-wise, I think, and we just need to get some... it looks like a left wing back may be needed because Cox is iffy injury-wise, and Kirkman now could be out for a long spell.
Ironically, of course, Longfellow went to Salford at the end of last week. Yeah.
Although I didn't hear many people cry about him going. But one thing I do think we lack is a nice player of pace. Daru for Barrow on Saturday, once or twice, he showed electric pace, and it really stretches teams. And we don't have anybody really with that electric change of pace that can really put the opposition back more on the defensive. One of my heroes in the past was Ian Miller, and he wasn't the greatest footballer, but by gum, he could cause panics when he got going down that wing. Probably 1 in 10 crosses found a red shirt, but he was causing mayhem with clubs. So pace, bit of cover in the defensive areas, and yes, we've got to keep Harry fit and not suspended.
Yeah, this is from Colin. Too reliant on Smith, needs someone who can score a few goals, especially if he were to get injured. Going on that theme, Steve.
Yeah.
Goalkeeping situation, I know we've already highlighted that one. It'd be nice if we could probably bring in, I remember a couple of years ago, we brought Lee Camp in, but not someone of that ilk, but someone maybe sat on the subs bench in a championship club that's sort of 27, 28 years of age, that's got a little bit of know-how. I've not really studied the subs benches of championships clubs, but I'm sure there's probably one out there somewhere screaming for 90 minutes. In regards to shipping people out, maybe I haven't seen enough from Shamanga really to say that he's a goal-scoring threat in League Two. I've not been overly impressed by him. So if he frees up a space for somebody to come in of a similar sort of experience, and you find the back of the net on a regular basis, then great. The squad in whole, absolutely, maybe a central defender, because we are sort of seeing a few patches of players are going on injured and going off and everything else. So yeah, goalkeeper, defender, striker. I think midfield is about right at the moment. I know it sounds a lot, but I think goalkeeper, defender, and striker. If we can get 3 more in and offload a couple, the better. But yeah, no, it's going to be an interesting one. I think it's like February 2nd, is it? Or
yeah,
first or
I think it
third?
goes over into February, doesn't it? Yeah. Personally, I can't think of anything worse than watching Sky till 1 o'clock in the morning. But anyway, that's another thing altogether. Belinda.
I mean, to be honest, I kind of agree with everything everybody said. Everyone's covered all the points, really. Goalkeeper, unfortunately, is quite a clear weak point, although improvement has occurred, as with every single area, obviously. But the keeping's got better. But I think, both of them are quite young. They need support, really, from a sort of probably a more experienced keeper in that area. I do have to agree with Phil with the pace. I think it is quite noticeable that we do get outpaced quite often. Even the strikers are getting outpaced by defenders sometimes. And it's not that they're necessarily slow. They're just not. We just haven't got that person for the counter attack to just go vroom and just run. And like he says, not even with as much skill. I look to last season, if you remember, El Bazaidi, where he was a player who perfectly fine on the ball, but he was just quick, and that was what we had, and that's kind of thing that you're going to get at League Two. If you want a player who's quick, it's going to be a player who, maybe doesn't have all of the other stuff, because otherwise, if he did, he probably wouldn't be playing in League Two. But I think we've got enough strong players on the ball that we need another player that's useful off the ball, because otherwise at the moment our only out ball really is Smith. We haven't got anybody that normally is going to be able to run onto it. So I think we definitely do need a player like that, and a player that is, if it can be a striker or a winger, then that works. I have to say I do like that Drinnan's been playing more in the midfield position. I think he has improved immensely from where he was last season. Last season, I can't lie, I wasn't much of a fan, but this season I think he's been playing incredibly well. And I think if there's a few more people that he can support going into the box, then that would be good.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you for that, Belinda. We're just news in from our Scottish correspondent that Dundee are 1-0 up against Dundee United, I assume, which is apparently a big result in Scotland, wherever that might be. No, we're very interested. Come on, Hamilton Academicals, the mighty Hamilton. That's all I can say. Thank you all very much indeed. It's been a very fascinating and great hour. And don't forget, Falls Rush In is with you 9 o'clock this evening, should you want more football content regarding Swindon Town Football Club. Mr. Cousins.
Yeah, thank you. Just like to sort of make a comment about the Supporters Club. Just a polite reminder to let you know that the members of the committee are all volunteers. They all put an inordinate amount of work in to support the fans. Just have a look at the comments that you put in sometimes, and just have a look. Just be kind, please, and be respectful. These people give up an awful amount of time. Go and enjoy yourselves on Friday. Hopefully on the field things are looking up. And I really appreciate the panel's time tonight, and also Nnamdi coming on. So there's lots of good things to talk about, but really appreciate all of you listening tonight, and thank you very much. And good night from all of us. Good night.
See ya.